everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. That's right, I'm being a big bag of DICKS today because I'm wearing my Pistons hat. That's right. It's the most tame form of protest, I think, known to man, known to fandom, as I host a weekly podcast dedicated to this team that makes me so goddamn angry. How do I get back at them? Well, after I spend hundreds of dollars on Red Wings hats, jerseys, tickets, I get back at him by wearing my Pistons hat. Mike's on his way. He texted. I'm going to let him know I'm ready for him. Woot. Texted exactly that. Woot. How's everybody doing? Because clearly I have an agenda today. I'm going to pull up, let's pull up our slide deck here. We could start the conversation at the very least with this wonderful picture highlighting Dylan Larkin. I almost addressed Mike. Oh, and Mike's here. I almost said, Mike, what do you think about this? And you weren't even on the show yet.
Man,
Mike, Red Wings
memory. Podcast muscle memory. Let me do a quick mute while I open up a can of whoop-ass.
Woo! Mike, the only thing you missed was that I'm doing my tame form of protest after spending probably thousands of dollars this year on Red Wings tickets and merchandise. Mike,
yeah,
I got them back tonight. I'm wearing my Pistons hat.
Yeah.
Those pieces of shit.
Oh,
Steve, I got you.
Yeah.
Woo! I got you. What are you going to do about that, idiot? Anyway, Mike, we're not the only ones who think Steve Yzerman's... I'm just kidding. We don't think he's an idiot. We think he's lazy. But Larkin also agrees. What a lazy bum Steve Yzerman is.
Yeah, Steve's up there, yeah, and he's hot dogging and grandstanding. Yeah.
I don't think we have a ton to go on. Hey, Chewy's aboard. Tonight we don't have a ton to talk about. I do want to set up this episode. Let's talk about Dan B throws it out there. D-Boss. Dan B says anyone who makes D-Boss look so sad needs to be handled. Good point, Dan. We'll get into that too.
What do you mean? We just all we do is trade as best friends and then sign all the worst people imaginable. What's there to be upset about?
Yeah, he just signs 8 years of his life away. What's there to be mad about? But yeah, we'll get into all the details there. Mike, then finally, we are going to talk Detroit Pistons basketball today because Mike, I had an amazing time. Watching playoff basketball that meant something. Detroit playoff sports that meant something. I did. You know what's funny? I did have to qualify it, talking with our dad, talking about the Detroit Lions, and I was like, we had a lot of injuries. We probably I was not expecting us to beat the Commanders. And I don't hate the Commanders either. That was all hunky dory. But Mike, there's something about watching a playoff game in Madison Square Garden and watching those rich sons of bees celebrating because they tied the game. And then just, in 2 minutes, the Pistons were like, oh, that's real cute that you guys tied the game. Here's a 10-point lead. That was so much fun. Just so tasty to watch. That I miss that feeling so much.
Man, it's been a long time since we had not just playoff games but games where I feel like we have a chance to win the series. The Pistons did have Blake Griffin a couple years ago, and they got absolutely shellacked. They had a core of maybe the worst assembly of basketball players ever squeak in as an 8 seed, get shellacked. But yeah, I think it's a reminder too of how fun it is to identify with the city of Detroit. And like you kind of alluded to with, New York is, that arena experience is not tethered to reality. the front row is like Paul Rudd, schmoozing with the head of Warner Brothers. Well, he's the head with the head of Warner Brothers. So it's like, this isn't even like he's hanging out with his buddies. Like this is a corporate thing where he's probably trying to get a contract or some money. It's just disgusting. And the announcers could not stop reminding us how the Pistons blew a 10-point lead and gave up 21 points in a row. So the crowd, the announcers, the sound was all very anti-Detroit. And for them to, overcome all that, oh man, it was ripping my guts out. It was making me grind my molars. And then just the elation at the end when they triumphed. So all they did was tie a series 1-1. But it had just been so long, and we'd gone on such a drought with our, Wings and Pistons. It was nice to have a game that felt like it meant something, and it felt like it meant more than just that game, because it's building blocks. You could see, as much as we love Larkin, I don't know if he's got that Cade in him, where Cade literally took a whole team on his back and, forced them to win.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing we've been asking for from the Red Wings, and as somebody who doesn't watch a ton of Pistons basketball, this is the most Pistons basketball these last few weeks. This is the most I've watched, in years. Mm-hmm. We want an identity for the Red Wings. There is no team in the NBA who has more of an identity right now and uses it not only to build a culture and to get fans on board, but to win games too. Like that's what this is about. And it brings attention to me what a bunch of malarkey it is that we're being sold. There's an identity being built for a team that can't make the playoffs. And but this is something like when you say, I want my team to have an identity, it's being demonstrated by the number 6 seed, probably on their way to take out the number 3 seed in the first round of the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing too to bring up is it feels like any time that the Red Wings are being marketed, it's something that the marketing team put together. You know what I mean? Where this Piston team has just decided we're going to beat the crap out of you. And then they're like, I guess that's their identity. They punch people in the mouth and play really, really physical defense.
That highlight of Beef Stew getting backed down. I don't know if you've seen that. It was all over ESPN. It was actually from the Game 1 loss, but like the attempt to back him down, and he's just, they showed it. Like he didn't move. They did not get any closer to the basket.
He didn't budge 1 inch. Yeah.
Yes, he is an absolute beefy wall. God, it was so much fun. Are we the only ones that call him?
Didn't know what to do. They called a foul on that, but then the whole bench gave Beef Stew high fives for standing his ground. It was a pretty incredible physical moment there for this team. But I don't know. I think it's more important to like we want to try and connect it to the Red Wings, which is hard to do since they're all golfing again. But I just I hope that Steve is looking at what's happening, because tomorrow's the first home playoff game at Little Caesars Arena, and it's going to be the Pistons, right?
Yeah.
There's also going to be an event at Sunday, Game 4 that we're going to go to. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, the city of Detroit is making an event. Either day you can go downtown. You don't have to have a ticket. It's stuff for the kids, stuff for the adults. It's just a celebration of, man, this is awesome to have games that matter. And kind of bring the whole city together. And that I kind of feel like we should get more credit for that, fill in the blank versus everybody. Especially with like the pomp and frills for, other teams, or like it's New York. But like for us, it's like, no, man, we're just scratching and clawing and biting and fighting all the way to the death. So yeah, it's an awesome community experience to do this, and it sucks that the Red Wings aren't going to do it.
It does feel like when you put it that way, you basically built a Detroit Lions team built off the city's culture. The Tigers very clearly like clawed and scratched their way into the playoffs after I got free tickets to a game in August, and I was like, no, that'll be easy to get into this game because they stink. They're not going to the playoffs this year. Yeah. And that was the game that like kicked off our streak. Was the game I went to.
Yeah.
It was so much fun to think about. And then the Pistons right now, their identity again. I mean, the way Chewy put it, bad boys are back. What are the Red Wings? We're being sold a bill of goods that just doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, we're a scrappy defensive team. Also, our penalty kill is almost the worst ever. Fourth worst all time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess I tried to paint it a little bit, right, with trying to showcase the power play, which was successful, but I think we've talked about it for the past couple of years where it doesn't feel like the Red Wings really have an identity. It's you know what the mantra is? We iced a team.
Yeah. And I think that's where
it's horrible.
It's time to hear from Dylan Larkin. Mike, you tell me right away if you don't hear the sound. You guys know how clunky the production is on the show, but I thought we'd listen to Dylan. It's only 37
I've never heard anything
from
Jared about that. I don't know what you mean, man. But go ahead.
Well, Jared did say today, you guys need to install a clock app because the day you start the stream, at the time you say you will, I'm buying a lottery ticket. Now, Jared, I said 6:50. I hit go live at 6:50 today.
Yeah.
You mother
trucker.
Jared, production?
Hey.
All right, Dan B. Let's hit some comments too. Hey, at least we're not the Buffalo Sabres. Very true right now, Dan.
Can I say that comment of the episode is going to be who comes up with the Red Wings mantra? So my humble submission was we ice a team. Dan B, I like that. Hey, at least we're not the Sabres. Chewy says Hockey Town. Maybe it'll come back. I like that.
Corey is throwing out there. I think Mo shows from time to time having a mean streak in him, and I think he plays better when he does, but I think he's afraid to take penalties because of our terrible penalty kill. Man, how about that? I mean, that's something you're talking about before you head out on the ice. Hey, this penalty kill's so bad, you guys. Be careful out there, because that's what's going to help us lose this game. Jared, it's weird seeing sunlight in the background. All right, well, there was no sunlight at Little Caesars Arena, guys, when Dylan Larkin was asked what happened in March, and
performance starts. He's jumping ahead, but let's see what Larkin said here, because I do want to get to performance.
Yep. Did you hear that?
There's a slight burble.
You got to come up with wins, and I think especially in March, it was hard. That we didn't do anything, and then I felt the group kind of we didn't gain any momentum from the trade deadline, and guys were kind of down about it. So it'd be nice to add something and bring a little bit of a spark on the ice and maybe a morale boost as well. Larks, how do you feel that you?
Woo, man! Woo! From the most humble company man that has ever been the face of the franchise. That's basically saying "fuck this shit" in Larkin-esque.
I did, I listened to a couple of podcasts. Puck Soup talked about this. Their take on this was that he was very, he came about it in sort of a political way, and they said he's not mad at Steve Yzerman, but he wants to see more done because he wants to be in the playoffs. As much as it sucks that we always agree, Mike, I agree with you. We know Dylan. We know the text that he takes. Like this just seems like, like 100%. He's losing it right now. Like this isn't just as cut and dry. It's just like, he's just making a comment.
I think you're nuts if you don't like see the frustration in that, And you can hear, I think you can hear my stupid dog in the background, but
you can. I can hear. Can you hear Milo?
Oh, they're both going at it. Maybe they can hear each other.
Look how sad he is. Look at that face. He's so sad.
We've talked about it so many times that we got that new coach bump, and we went on that really good streak. Was it like 15-4-3, something like that? It was an incredible win streak, right? So it turns out these are human beings. And once again, as the trade deadline crept closer and closer, the Red Wings played crappier and crappier. And I remember it was Mickey Redmond saying, at a different point, but I really liked it. It looked like they were skating with pianos on their back. Like they look heavy, they look slow, they're, not playing like they can. And it's like they're thinking about, oh man, another trade deadline. Like we got to do something or else Steve's not going to feel like we can improve the team. And then he didn't improve the team again. And then the Red Wings are kind of like, oh, well, message sent. I guess we suck. And so they suck.
Performance art, this comment. Yeah, and then when they do make a trade, he cries because it was his friend. Which one is it, Dylan? I like if Steve calls him up after this press conference. Look, when I make a trade, you're upset. When I don't make a trade, you're upset. Just
this response from our group is incredible stuff. Brand new coming in off the top rope. I like when poor Dylan cries. Jared dropping a flying leg drop saying Larkin about to be the new sad Jordan meme. You guys are merciless. Our poor captain. There's Chewy. There's a voice of reason. Thank you, Chewy, saying I feel bad for Larkin. Always has to talk to the reporters after losses.
Wouldn't you be fed up with it, man? I don't know why the fan, there's still fans that are just like, no, give me more of this. Oh, please. I love watching these other teams in the playoffs. I love watching Ottawa and Toronto right now go up against each other. This is great. Now,
Corey throwing in there a quick reminder that in regards to Larkin and Bertuzzi, that was for futures though. Larkin is talking about improving the team now.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're just kidding.
Yeah. Dixon, last name Cider, because I'm never falling for that again. Saying Yzerman traded his captain San Luis in Tampa. Yzerplan is a Mo, Ray, Ed, Casper, Kosa core. I think Mr. Cider saying Larkin on the move.
Jared says, be the captain. Maybe he is. Isn't he being the captain here?
Well, we do have a bid for comment on the episode from none other than Dan B saying Yzerplan. That's pretty good.
Dan B from downtown.
Bang.
Well, how do you revise it? We'll get into that in a second. I just, there was a lot taken when you're direct, like Dylan Larkin. Maybe he could have even been more direct, but I wanted to touch on this quote from Patrick Kane, where he says, I think that's something that, and this is actually from same day, the locker clean out day. They're asking Kane, what's going on here? I think, in Kane's response, I think that's something that maybe as an organization, as players, you need to dive into a little bit and see if there's any trends or anything that's going on during that time of year that can help us. And I thought this was kind of along the same lines. And I thought people didn't actually make the connection because there is a trend. The trend is we don't trade to upgrade this team. The trend is we go out of the off season into the regular season and everyone looks at the roster and says, oh, that's not a playoff roster. The trend is the guys that we've paid to stay on this team have blown it. 3 straight marches. Those are the trends that Patrick Kane is asking about. I'm not saying he's saying those, but he's asking what are the trends. Mike, we have some trends. We have very clearly some trends to point at. Cider's response, he's very frustrated. If I had an answer for you, I think we would have translated it on the ice.
Wow.
So here's the thing. That's a deep comment. Because what Moritz Seider is saying is that there's nothing in this locker room right now that's solving this problem for us. And I will you know what? I'll admit, for both the Kane quote and the Seider quote, I'm definitely stretching here to make connections.
Yeah.
But tell me that's not what these two guys are saying.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 of these guys are kind of low key, being as critical as they can be. In a fluffy postseason interview. Can you go back so I can see the quote real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money, Matt. Cider saying, if I had an answer for you, I think we would have translated it on the ice. That's basically, yeah. There's nothing, and he does credit the coach. Like, he thought Todd did a great job every single time. We just couldn't really get it done. So he's basically saying there's nothing that Todd could have done with this group of hockey players that would have got us into the playoffs. This group doesn't have it. It doesn't matter who the coach was. It's about the players. And Kane, basically saying, hey, if you think doing the exact same thing every year is going to get you a different outcome, you're crazy. You gotta, and this is coming from a guy who's going to be negotiating a contract with Steve in about a month or two. So he's being as politically correct and I guess kind of self-aware of making sure he's not losing any hundreds of thousands or bonuses on his next deal, right?
Right.
But yeah, it looks like the consensus from the players is, dude, we need some help.
I did performance art calls out, like, this is always a good point to remember when it comes to, like, how far do you go in, like, resetting this team, right?
Yeah.
But the comment here from performance art for everybody listening on the podcast is what's funny is if you rewind back to the early 90s, we were having the same conversation about Steve Yzerman as a player. Keep in mind, Yzerman was a 100-point player at that time, though. My only problem with that argument, and I've seen it pop up a lot, we had we had 2 seasons where we weren't in the playoffs, and we were trying to figure out how do we become that team that gets into the conference finals, right? And it was like, well, this is the core we had, and it's just not working. And they added to it, right? Like, they for sure added one of the top goal scorers of that era in a Brendan Shanahan, and things started to work out. They got the Russian 5 going, and that definitely helped out. They added a ton to that team. Like, we can't forget that. Those moves, like, it's not about trading Dylan Larkin, but the moves to bring in Brendan Shanahan is clearly not happening. But here's the biggest problem with comparing those 2 eras. And performance art, you are not guilty of doing this. You are making a great point. The problem with comparing those 2 eras comes back to the fact that we're talking about 2 years we weren't in the playoffs, and we're trying to figure out, how do we create an identity here so that we can get into the conference finals, so we can get to the Stanley Cup finals? Mike, we don't know how to get in the playoffs. We don't even know how to make those next adjustments. The conversations for the Ottawa Senators on what they need can start this offseason, because they're watching themselves in the playoffs right now against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they're trying to figure it out. We don't have that. We're still not there. We're still not at the point where we go, all right, we have a team that can make it to the playoffs, but how do you win in the playoffs? Think about the Toronto Maple Leafs. For sure, they're up 2-0 right now against Ottawa. I picked them to win the cup. They have one, what do I want to say? Playoff round win dating back to 2017, right?
Yeah.
One. They still haven't figured it out. And I would trade places with Toronto, no problem, right now. No, hands down. Anybody who wouldn't do that, you're crazy. I would trade places with Toronto right now. And they still don't have it figured out. They might win the cup this year. But we're not there yet. We're not at the point where we're figuring out, like, okay, how do we iteratively improve to get to the second round, to the conference finals, to the cup? We're not there yet. We're not even close.
I was just thinking of something that might really bum you out even further. So the Pistons have had other situations and top players where they, thought that they had a new identity and it didn't work out. Okay.
Yeah.
When Ben Wallace left, they just tried to make it somebody else on the, that core 5 from 2004 when they won the title. And it didn't work. Ben was too old and the other guys didn't quite have it. The team never hit the same heights. Okay. They tried it with dudes like Rodney Stuckey, Allen Iverson, never really panned out. The identity changed when they finally got Cade, and Cade plays defense. He scores the ball. He's a responsible leader. Does great post game. He's there even when he's injured on the sideline. One of those guys. He could be up with upper management in the rafters, and he's on the floor, whooping it up. And I know hockey's a different animal because you got 20 guys and not about a dozen. But I guess what I'm getting at is you get an identity from the best player, and the Pistons have that grit again because of Cade. Are we going to be able to have a real identity with Larkin as your best player? Because now I'm a little scared that sad face, the new Michael Jordan sad face, is this current era in Red Wing hockey. That's our identity. It's literally all of us. He represents all of us right now.
I hate how right you are. Like, looking at like the Avalanche for like Mikko Rantanen, get the hell out of here. We have Nathan McKinnon. Like, that's our leader. Florida Panthers, first game, Matthew Tkachuk comes back, couple of goals. Team looks like they're about to sweep the Tampa Bay Lightning. Move on to the next round. Man, if Toronto isn't just chock full of like superstars right now, and even Tavares is like, you know what? I'm gonna play hockey this year. Like, it's tough to put a finger on who their best is right now. I think that could not be more true. And I hate you right now.
I think performance art is kind of alluding to that as well, because performance art says before you make the playoffs, you in theory have your leadership core together to bring you those, the years of being in the playoffs. And he doesn't think that the Red Wings even have that.
I like Jared's call out because it brings into the conversation like some more incorrect moves that we've made, but that trade of like David Perron for Tarasenko. And basically you said, not you, but Steve said, we're going to step back from, a more solid two-way game. And we're going to lean a little bit heavier into scoring. And, man, did that backfire because the scoring didn't happen and nothing happened to improve that defense for Tarasenko.
That's BS. That's
I'm
BS.
sorry?
Because I'm saying that was the marketing of the Red Wings, that they're not going to score as much and they're going to focus on defense. That was them trying to Jedi mind trick us into being like, oh, okay, they're changing the team philosophy. No, what's actually going on is you're just scoring less. Your defense didn't go up. You just scored less goals. That's all that happened.
Penalty kill did get significantly worse.
Yeah, historically worse. Come on. This is awful. Dan B saying teams desperately need third, fourth line guys who can occasionally step up and make big plays. We don't have anyone like that. Dan B, can I push back and say we are nothing but third and fourth line guys, and we need some first and second line guys?
Yes, they're on the team, Dan. They're just
can you imagine
in the
if
wrong
Andrew
spot.
Copp was your fourth center?
Yeah, that'd be great.
He's pretty good as a fourth center.
Man, could you imagine? I'm a little worried that we might be asking Marco Kasper to do too much already. And everybody, I don't know if you heard the last call from Paul Woods with Ken Kell on the radio. Paul signs off and says Marco Kasper should be our first line center next year.
Have you seen first line centers? Whoa,
I know. I get it. Like I guys,
easy there, big fella.
Red Wings fans. There's nothing I saw from Marco Kasper. Yeah. There's nothing I saw from Kasper that was like, oh, he doesn't belong in the... No, he definitely belongs in the NHL. Guy's ready to go.
Is that Austin Matthews? I've never said that watching him play.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's half a point per game player. Let's reel it back just a little bit. Let's not forget, too, that he played with DeBrincat and Kane. Did great. Guys, don't
Very
come
excited
after me.
He's on the team, but...
Did great. But that's not the guy you plug into your first line. He's not on the team yet. That person not on the team yet.
So Dan B saying this is not the team you're looking for. Thank you, Dan B. And performance art. I think you said this twice. I missed it the first time. I'm glad you said it again. Because it's worth saying. Performance starts saying we need a massive offseason, or I think Yzerman starts to be on the hot seat. And I think earlier it might have been you said that you might be done without a massive offseason. Because I guess if at this point, if you don't do it, there's no prospect that's coming up that's like, super ready to go and gonna light the world on fire. Not offensively. I mean, my boy. I mean, as a forward, I'm really excited for ASP to make it, but I don't think natural progression of this group of young guys is what propels this team into the playoffs. I don't think that that's enough, Steve.
Jared wants to know, what is a first line center? I mean, we could ask Toronto. They got a couple of them. Maybe they can let us borrow one.
You know who would really be confused by that question is Steve Yzerman.
He used to be one.
Yeah. What if Steve was the number 2 center and Fedorov was the number 1? Too soon?
I mean,
too soon. Okay.
That probably was the case by the time the Cubs came around, right?
Burner account Matt said, it's been hilarious watching all the Yzerbots revolt against their captain Larkin because he dared to question the judgment of their Lord and Savior Steve Yzerman. I have been off the tweets since it was bought by Beelzebub himself. Is that really the case? People are still on Twitter. Are people really turning on Larkin because of this?
Yeah, if you are... I guess I pulled off Twitter as well, but yeah, if you go through those comments, somebody tagged our account on that video that we showed earlier, and it was shared by Barstool and Spit and Chicklets. ESPN shared it too, and then it tagged us, and I was like, what the hell?
Cool.
But we're not on Twitter anymore, so it was just like tagging Red Wings Rant for fun. Anyway, so I got it. Like I pulled it. We kept getting tagged, and man, thousands of notifications was making me so angry because I was like, "Hey, we're on TikTok now. Go to TikTok." But anyway, open up these conversations, and it's like across the NHL, everybody's like, finally, the players are like wisening up. Like it's not just like gonna magically become a good team because Steve Yzerman's the GM. And then you scroll through and you see like the Red Wings logos pop up on folks' avatars. And it's like, he's got to stop making excuses. You just have to go on the ice and play the game. Where it's just like sheer will is what wins a Stanley Cup, which it's not. I'm sorry. Cade Cunningham is extremely
Can I tell you before
talented.
you even say your point how proud I am that you know his first and last name and you said it on this show? But go ahead.
He's extremely talented, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the Athletic release their anonymous player poll. Came out as #1 most underrated player in the NBA from all the players. That's kind of fun. What's funny is the Athletic released it in an Instagram post with no names. They just had a picture of the guy that won the award. And I was like, I don't know anybody. I know Luca. I know Cade. That's about it. Yeah. Anyway. Cade, yes, for sure. Like you mentioned earlier, is willing the Pistons through these games, right? Like this is mainly, but Cade is extremely talented. It's in the same vein of seeing like Connor McDavid put 5 points up on the board, and despite it all, the Oilers still lose to the Kings. But it's like McDavid's like, no, I'm dragging you guys into overtime. We're probably going to lose this game, but it's not going to be my fault.
Yeah,
like that's the kind of thing we're missing. I think that's a great point because it is will plus skill.
Like I don't know. We've experienced, I don't want to. I'm trying to stop myself from just doing Larkin slander. It's just we've seen what this team looks like the past couple of months when it's nut crunch time and they fold like a house of cards. The Pistons were winning game 1 against New York the entire game, and then in the fourth quarter they gave up a 21-point barrage, and they just looked embarrassed. Cade looked like, he's on the beaches of Normandy with bullets flying by, and, his Tobias Harris just had his leg cut off by, shrapnel. But they didn't cave. They didn't Red Wings march it up. They just kicked more ass in game 2 and just were completely unperturbed by everything that just happened in that fourth quarter. Like, they didn't let it impact them at all. In fact, they looked even more focused. It was amazing. It was again, it was something I hope that Steven Yzerman was really paying attention to. But real quick, Corey Eisel did say, because we mentioned a moment ago about me saying Steve was a number 2 center. He's saying that's not fair. Steve was a first-line center for like a decade before we got Fedorov. Corey, I will not push back on that. I think the point I'd like to make is that this team would be better if there was a way to make Larkin the second-line center. It's like that era of Red Wing hockey was so good because it was so interchangeable who the first line center was. A lot like Matt's favorite version of the Red Wings when it was Zetterberg and Datsuk. Although for Matt, it's probably no debate that Datsuk was number 1 for him.
Yeah, very clearly represented.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Steve was awesome. Scored a lot of points.
Yeah.
I think he's the heartbeat of he's the engine, right? But I'm saying it's a whole different ball game when there's an even debate. There's a potential debate for Steve to be the number 2 center, find somebody that excellent. So be cool to kind of set up Larkin like that.
Watch out for Mike's hot takes, because when it comes to hockey, he's going to be tongue in cheek first. I
would hope you guys have figured that out by now, but it's fine.
Max came up with his list of 5 things to cure the Red Wings.
Real content. This sounds like real content. So before you do it, I do need Dan B with yet another banger from downtown. An Yzerbot looks remarkably like Darren McCarty. Bang! Dan B dropping the thunder.
That was after Blake said, "What's an Yzerbot?" And then Corey, Darren McCarty. Corey came in hot with that answer. I love that. Jared, no lies detected. And then Blake says, "Someone who played under Steve." All right, Blake, you're catching up. You're almost there. This one's
all right,
so
let's
funny.
Do actual content here.
Yeah. Max has fixed the penalty kill as his number 4 on his list. I think
is it that we have so many problems, or did he not see our penalty kill this year?
Number 1 was settle the coaching staff. I don't know if Max has this ranked by like what's easiest.
He said fix the coaching staff?
Settle the coaching staff.
Oh, never mind. If they were all fixed, though, maybe it was alphabetical order, because I don't think there's really a coaching staff to fix, some of these players.
This is definitely an order of like what's easiest. Number 2, evaluate which prospects could be ready. Especially with the word could in there. Max, we're 2 in. This is pretty weak, dude. Number 3, again, rank order for easiest things to do, Mike, to fix this team. Re-sign Patrick Kane. Yeah, like anybody else is kicking that door in. But finally, number 4, fix the penalty kill. At 70.1%, the Red Wings penalty kill, NHL's worst this season, 4th worst all time. That has to improve. Yeah, for sure. But number... yeah.
I just liked Corey threw a comment in there. Sorry. He's putting in a bid for a comment of the episode saying league average penalty kill, and we are a playoff team. That should be priority number 1. Yeah, I almost want to like reach out to Max in the comments, be like, what order are these in?
Oh, I like Corey. Boltman's guarding his press pass.
Hey now. Woo! Isn't that a bummer when you can tell that's kind of the case?
Yeah, Dan B's right here. I think McClellan is going to bring in new assistant coaches. Like that.
All
that's
right.
one of the points. That's one of the
fine.
Points Max threw out there. It's like, hey, you brought in a new coach mid-season. You didn't get your own buddies into the mix there. That makes perfect sense. You build a better structure when you get to pick your own assistant coaches. Dan, you're absolutely right. I still think Max's rank order here is what's the easiest thing to do here? Because
I will say both the Lions and the Pistons transformed when they got new management and new coaches.
uh-oh.
Whoops. We've done one of those. We didn't do what's the other one? Anyway, as you were, Matt.
Number 5 for Max. Find a top line winger. Now he goes on to describe this in his article where it's just like, well, this is impossible to do. So if you guys read it, I just like at this point, this should be like the only thing anybody who does have a press pass, anybody who does write Red Wings content, Mike, I'm surprised. I love you guys that you're still here because we've basically run the same episode for the last like 5 months here.
We've had the same show for 6 years.
It's just Steve Yzerman. You need to bring in elite talent to this team. And the rebuttal is it takes time. You got to build
it
through
takes
the draft.
action too. They don't just pop out of the ground because enough time went by.
I would make this call to action to anybody who has that press pass. Anybody who does write content that's Red Wings centric. Be a Sean Shapiro, call out that lazy sack to start doing some work because this ain't gonna do it. Hiding this at the bottom of your article, Max. Come on, man. Somebody get in there and I need 2 things. I need that to happen. I need a full article once a week about why the Red Wings aren't going to contend until they add to the top 6. Number 2, I need somebody to be a real journalist and figure out what the heck happened with Jake Wallman. That's another thing. We should repeat this on every single episode until these fans get an answer. How did you screw up Jake Wallman so royally?
Wallman Gate. There you go.
Ran Tankathon today, Mike. We moved down a spot. we lost the draft lottery at number 12 and moved down to 13.
Man, what's really dumb is Columbus. Way to win 6 in a row and screw up your odds.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that true? Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. 6 in a row. Good gravy.
Man, it could have been like top 10. Man, they really screwed the pooch on that one. I can't believe we're doing this. I can't believe we're doing this again. Oh,
I know. I don't want to spend a whole episode here, but I did. So we pull up 13 on this draft simulator.
Yeah. Here's some prospects you guys should learn to know and be ready for your favorite Red Wing team in 4 or 5 years, assuming that everything pans out and they can play in Grand Rapids for 2-3 years, and then maybe they'll be ready at some point. They can be shore up that 4th line for your Detroit Red Wings. Boy, what an exciting time it's going to be with Lyndon Lakovich from the Moose Jaw Warriors. What a big time player he is. Not really a point man. He's more of a ice a team guy, which is exactly what the Red Wings like collecting. So, welcome aboard. Hope you're excited for Ice a Team Night here at Little Caesar Arena.
Game number 41. I know. Still, I'm eyeballing right now. Carter Bear, Justin Carbonneau. And then I do like you kind of just have to round it out because he's a 99-point player in the WHL, but Benjamin Kindle. But Cullen Potter is another one to keep an eye on because at least he's playing the NCAA right now and he's 18.
What are you talking about? None of these guys matter, Matt. God damn it.
Mike, I had to take a whole screenshot. I had to go to Elite Prospects.
None of these guys matter. Come on. Okay.
Well, here's the real last slide of the episode.
Can I? Oh, I'm so glad that you shared this. Okay, for one very specific reason. Besides, sad face Larkin, he's like, we didn't do anything at the deadline, and it kind of made all of us very sad that we could tell that we're not enough for Steve. He's not impressed, so he's like, he's not going to get us any players. the Pistons didn't go out and trade for very expensive maybes. Like, they could have traded for somebody. I'll just throw an example out there, like Brandon Ingram. Okay, he's a guy who's going to get paid. I think he's already got a new contract. It's like $35 million a year. So he's that echelon of pay. But the Pistons and me were like, no, he's not deserving of that money. This is not a true upgrade of the team. But they didn't do nothing. They picked up this Dennis Schroeder guy, and he's been effing gigantic so far in the playoffs. Like, just making smart plays, getting some timely buckets. And it's like, that's the kind of move that we want from Steve. I know a Brandon Ingram type, like, trade for the Red Wings would have been an absolute disaster. Like, not just set you back this season, you might not have even made the playoffs with them. Would have screwed you up for years. Just like the team that traded for this NBA player in real life. We just wanted, like, a Dennis Schroeder. And that's not Peter Mrazek. I'm sorry. Even Larkin acknowledged that, not so subtly. We did nothing at the deadline. Well, you kind of did. Well, we kind of didn't.
Steve's got all those papers in front of him on his side. No, look, right here. We got Mrazek and Craig. You remember? We brought in Craig. We had to shore up the comments on the YouTube said we had to shore up the bottom.
That's all we wanted was a Schroeder. We know that there wasn't a real game-changing player available for us. That's fine. The Pistons gave up nothing to get Schroeder. Nothing. And he's been incredibly valuable. He's playing huge minutes in nut crunch time. That's all we wanted. I don't think he was asking that much.
Well, you didn't get it.
No, we didn't.
Blake wants to know who won our pool. And I'm pretty sure
whichever one of us drowns to death first wins the pool. Let me read a few comments while you look for that.
Maurice the ass kicker, Dan Bergeron. Which Dan is that Dan B?
Is that Dan B?
Dan B, did you win our fantasy draft? Our fantasy league?
I know I didn't. I was out in the first round. Let me hit a few comments here. With Corey saying 12th pick might be here in 2030. Hooray! Jared saying I hate how true this is. Performance art saying, oh my God, draft talk. I can't take it anymore. Yeah, me neither. Performance art. I can't do it. I can't muster up the mustard to care about another guy who's not going to play for 5 or 6 years. You know how much it took out of me to get Axel? Ugh. Jared again
Mike.
saying so tired of draft talk in April. Burner Matt saying Jake O'Brien would be the best case scenario. Oh no, Burner Matt, not real draft talk. Muted. I'm just kidding. He might be fine in 20 years. Who knows?
Mike, guess who Dan Bergeron is?
No, not Blake 1991. How does any of that correlate?
Blake, send us an email. Admin at, what is it?
Oh, it's admin at BOD Podcast.
Yeah, admin at BOD Podcast, and get your stupid fucking jersey.
Tickets to the Red Wings.
Your season tickets. No, you're.
You gotta watch more of this garbage.
Goddamn jersey.
And Jared saying nut crunch time from the Pistons while the Wings crunch our collective nuts.
I love that we have a competition every episode for comment of the episode. We need to have like comment of the season. We got to start taking notes. We'll do that. Are we gonna have a season 7, Mike? We're
gonna
episodes like this make me want to keep going. Episodes like last week make me want to jump off the roof of the building I work at downtown.
I'm gonna be okay. I don't know how many more of these we can do in the summer, or especially with the spring coming. I don't know how we got to 49 minutes today. Incredible stuff with no content.
I thought we were gonna get 30. Yeah.
Dan B is Motor City Hitman. Well, Blake, I'm glad you won.
Dan wants us to do Griffin's coverage.
Griffin's coverage, Jesus, Dan.
I'm I'm
not
already
getting-
like, can they get eliminated before? Because here's the thing. We are taking next week off. Mike and I are going to be downtown again watching AC/DC
Yeah, we do have
blow up
AC/DC.
Ford Field. So it'll be a couple weeks. See if the Griffs are still plugging away there. Are they? Are they still plugging away? I don't even know what the hell's going on. You can call me a fake. I'm a poser Red Wings fan. I'm not.
Okay.
I
They've
am
done
not
this
plugged
to
into
us.
the Griffins.
They've done this to us. It's not your fault. I feel like Robin Williams right now. It's not your fault.
They start on Tuesday, the 29th.
Ooh, Dan
$2
B showing
beers
his
and hot
age,
dogs.
saying for those about to rock. Ooh, Corey
Excellent.
with an
Oh,
important
no.
question. No, it's actually Brian. I think he got his surgery. He's singing now. He's back.
Oh God, yeah, you just scared the crap out of me, Corey. I was like, I had no idea Axel was a possibility because I would not have bought those tickets. I'd much rather listen to that screaming old lady, Brian, instead of the other screaming old lady, Axel. At least it makes sense for like you got to pick an old lady that's screaming into a microphone. It might as well be the guy who was around in 1980.
Blake has thrown some shade at you and me. How dare you? For still using email. And he said, why don't you just send me a Facebook message? Because we're still on MySpace. Okay, Blake. You aren't
Okay.
even...
Blake making fun of us and saying who uses email, and then can you hit me up on Facebook? Blake,
I didn't know if that was a tag or he just undid his rib.
Is this a parody?
It's a Blake parody account. Chewy had a heart catheterization this morning.
Good God, Chewy. I hope you're okay, man.
Yeah.
Love you, brother.
Yeah, be
Good
well, man.
gravy. Blake pointing out Allmark looks bad. That's true. He looked not too bad in the second game, but he definitely didn't look like a guy you would want to invest a ton of years in. That first game against Toronto.
He did, however, look like a goalie in the playoffs.
Oh, snap. He definitely did. Oh, boy. Good health to you, Chewy.
Chewy with his 40th surgical procedure. Man, those are some Kucherov numbers. You got to keep cooking, man. You'll get all the way up to McDavid. I'm just glad that he
Chewy,
can
I apologize for Mike and his crass exploitation of your surgical procedures for a joke.
It's incredible stuff. 40 surgeries? My God, what is he, Robbie Fabry? Woo-hoo-hoo!
You know what, Blake? I think you'll be okay with this. In honor of Chewy, do you want to... I mean, Blake, what kind of person would accept their win in the fantasy league when you could donate it to Chewy? So just let us know right now, Blake. Are you happy to donate?
We're going to make you feel guilty.
He just said lol. All right. All right, guys. We're going to sign off. We'll see you guys, I don't know, maybe in a couple weeks. Let's see. Maybe Steve will do his presser, right? He owed us a press conference. How come we didn't get a press conference?
I like that Chewy's going to recover before Andrew Copp.
Oh, Blake said donate it to Chewy. Blake.
You know, we were just bullying you. We're just kidding. Yeah. You're still going to win.
Oh, Chewy. Chewy's got a few more coming up, too. Oh, Chewster, man. I love you, brother. Man. Keep us updated. All right.
So you get a week off, Chewy.
Guys,
again, we're not going to be here next Wednesday, but we'll be here week after. Keep
the Chewster in your thoughts. Hey, we could come back and talk the Stones. Pistons. Yeah, we can touch on the Pistons, and then I'm going to force Mike to look at some draft prospects, too.
No!
All right. We'll see you guys. Hit that like button if you got a sec. If you're new, subscribe. Would love to see you guys hanging around. All right. See ya.